Not ready yet. Sorry, it's starting. Okay, we're good to go.
Hello, Liz. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us for the Life After Lockdown series. I'm going to let you explain all of this, but I think there's probably quite a lot bit that's been going on with you in respect of emerging from lockdown. So can you give us an idea of what it is that you do and how the lockdown has impacted on that?
Okay, so I'm a craniosacral therapist and a massage therapist, and I've run my own business now for about 10 years. And just before, well, at Christmas, I was offered the chance to take over a new business, a much bigger place. So I wouldn't be working on my own. I would be running sort of like a therapy business with other therapists, osteopaths, physiotherapists, acupuncturists, other massage therapists, Pilates teachers. And that was supposed to happen in April, and then lockdown happened. So we postponed everything, which felt really good at the time because it didn't feel like the right time to be taking over something much bigger. So the beginning of lockdown for me was very much, we were going to go ahead, and then we stopped. And then there was a little period in the middle of lockdown, which was, that's quite nice and calm. And then we decided we would go through with it, and we would exchange contracts in June, middle of June. So then everything started to ramp up, just trying to get all the paperwork in place and all the leases sorted. And yeah, so it's been, and then the plan was to open on the 1st of July, which we did. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. And how's that been? How's it felt being kind of in business again with something that's suddenly become different because of the virus?
Yeah, well, it's needed a lot of planning and a lot of thought. So obviously myself and all the other therapists that work there, we've all been taking information from our governing bodies. So I've been sort of like looking at a lot of the osteopathic guidelines, the physio guidelines, and obviously the massage guidelines. But interestingly, physios and osteopaths haven't had to stop working throughout the whole lockdown. They've only been allowed to see emergency cases and only face-to-face in, if there was no other option. But from that perspective, that's sort of different to my line of work, because we were actually sort of like told to stop completely. So yeah, I've been on lots of webinars and sort of calls and reading lots of evidence, writing risk assessments, talking to all the people that work at Queen Street, and just trying to get as much information together to make it as safe as possible. So that, and then once we had all the paperwork in place, we then had to sort of like see, well, how does that work in practice? So we went in and we did some dry runs. And it's just been about keeping in contact with people and also keeping the public informed so that they know that it's a safe environment for them to come into. And actually it's been a combination of a bit stressful, quite interesting, and also quite exciting. So, and it's nice, it is nice to be back, although I'm not actually physically working yet, just I'm managing. But yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, good. Do you want to just let everybody know where this practice is? Because obviously we're in York and you're not. You would just...
No, so this is in Ulverston in Cumbria. So it's called Queen Street Consulting Rooms, and it's number 7 Queen Street in Ulverston. So yeah, it's in a really beautiful old Georgian building. So it's very lovely.
Excellent. That's superb. So during lockdown, as a massage therapist, what were you doing? My guess is that there was probably nothing you could do, or am I wrong about that? Was there anything you were able to continue with?
Do you mean continue with my clients?
In any way, yes. Did you have any contact with them?
Well, initially I had quite a bit of contact with the people that I obviously had to cancel. Then I think people generally realised, well, we were all on lockdown, so I didn't really have very many people contact me. I have had a few people contact me sort of intermittently saying, when are you coming back? Because you know, I deal with quite a lot of people in chronic pain. Yeah. So it's not like they're just coming for a relaxing massage. They're coming because they need help with whatever condition that they have. So some people, I think, have struggled quite a lot. I have offered, I've been doing lots of training. So that, like I say, there's been lots of webinars. I actually did a long distance healing course, which is sort of like run by someone who teaches craniosacral therapy in America. It's not craniosacral therapy, but that was very interesting. And it was about helping people sort of like over Skype from a distance, but just being able to sort of like be more aware of their own bodies and what was going on in their own bodies. So a bit of introspection, some meditation and that sort of thing. So I did that with the thought that I could offer that to people. But obviously reopening the business has taken priority. But I do know that I will be using that. I know that it will make me a better therapist when I actually get back to doing my hands-on work. So I don't feel like it's a wasted thing at all. It was really interesting to do.
So do you feel, Liz, that it's kind of the period of the lockdown has been a catalyst for change, or has it just accelerated some of the things you were already planning?
Well, yeah, a bit of both, really. It's definitely sort of, and I know because I've been in contact with lots of other therapists that do similar work to me, and lots of other therapists have taken their business online. You know, they're sort of what's the word? Assessing people online, looking at how what their range of movement is, talking to them about their sort of pain patterns, and then showing them how to treat themselves. So that's sort of like quite an interesting sort of like way to go about things. So there's been change in that respect, not so much for me. But yeah, I think it just has. I feel like my learning curve has been like that. And I think I was nervous about taking over the business. And now I think when everything hopefully settles down, I just feel like, oh, it's going to be a piece of cake, really. It's been so hard to get there, and I've done things that I wasn't even thinking that I would have to do. So yeah, it's been quite amazing, and I've been very lucky. We haven't been affected sort of like personally, as in no one sort of like in my family has had COVID. But I mean, we have been affected in that we've got elderly relatives, and we've had to sort of like, deal with some mental health problems and various bits and pieces. So, but on the whole, I feel like it's been quite a positive experience, which might sound a bit weird, but
no. That's one of the things we'd like to know, actually. What's been your take on it from a personal perspective?
Well, I mean, just the whole fact of being able to stop and slow down has just been amazing, really. It has just been a little bit. I mean, my son was supposed to be doing his GCSEs, so he's not done those. And I think he was a little bit disappointed to start with, but then the euphoria of not having to sit your exams sort of sets in. And it's just been nice to spend some quality time with him without that whole sort of like rushing off to work stuff going on. So, yeah,
good.
A lot of people, I think, have shared similar views on that in some of the other interviews we've done about slowing down, and a lot of people have really appreciated getting out into the open air and looking at things that perhaps they would have taken for granted, like listening to the birds singing and looking at the trees. Live in a beautiful area. Has that kind of have you spent more time than you normally would have done doing that
in your local area?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, when it first happened, we spent more time in the garden, and believe me, the garden needs us to spend more time in there. So that was good. And totally, you know, we would sit out there, and because the weather's been so amazing, we've got beautiful trees at the top of our garden, and like you say, the bird song was just phenomenal. We had nesting birds in one of our hedges, and just having that time to be able to see, oh, what are they doing today? And it was like a gift. It really was. And Robin and I, something that for a long time I'd been trying to get Robin to encourage him to do a little bit more exercise. And so Robin and I have started Couch to 5K. Well, we can already run 5K now. So we're now doing 5K to 10K. And, you know, that's been a real bonding thing that we wouldn't have been able to do if it hadn't. Well, I don't think we would have had the opportunity to do it if it hadn't been for this. So, yeah, and so I don't feel like we've explored anywhere particularly different, but, you know, every day we've been out doing something, just walking up Hode and stuff like that, which is just beautiful.
Well, that's really good to hear. And one of the things that we've heard quite a lot from people as well is that the period of lockdown, people don't have any kind of regrets about it. It's usually actually changed things for the better for people in some ways, because it's helped them to stop and actually really, you know, reevaluate things. It sounds like for you that's been the case, Liz, as well.
Yeah. Is it what do you think you will take from it into your future, if anything?
I mean, I think I was very aware, because of the kind of work I do. I was very aware of wanting to do work on myself, you know, just on my own inner work, if you like. Yeah. And I was always aware of wanting to slow down, make exercise sort of like part of my daily routine, meditation part of my daily routine, which I do to a certain extent. So I think going forward, that has almost been cemented more during this time, because I've had more time to do that. And you know, they talk about once something becomes a habit, so yeah. I feel like that's a positive thing. And I think I was always on that journey myself, but I think what this has enabled is my family to sort of like join in a way. Wow. Without, you know, for Simeon, I think his life was incredibly busy. He worked, you know, lots of different jobs. And I think really was,
for anybody who doesn't know, sorry, that's Simeon's your husband.
Yes, yeah. So I think he was at a stage in his life where he was quite stressed, and I think this has been amazing for him. So I feel like sort of like the whole family sort of like has sort of changed. So for me, that's brilliant, because it's almost like I'm not on my own anymore. They sort of like they get it as well.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Really excellent. Yeah. So do you have any particular hopes for the future, whether they be personal, professional, or even global? Do you think this pandemic should have changed us, and if so, how?
Well, I hope it has changed us. I hope that we don't we can't go back to normal at the moment. It's like an impossibility. So I hope that things do get back to more normal, as in we're not having to sort of like social distance and things like that in the future. But I just do hope that it makes people more aware of what life has to offer, that we don't have to sort of like go at this breakneck speed. We can take care of our environment, you know, all those sorts of positive things that have come up. I mean, my one sort of worry a little bit is especially in my line of work, the amount of PPE that we're having to use and wear, and that sort of seems almost going against the whole let's take care of the environment, really. So it would be great if people, I mean, I've seen it already, people are coming up with sort of tunics that you can wear instead of these plastic aprons, and they're wipe downable. So I just hope that, I mean, and it seems to have sparked off businesses all over the place, doesn't it? Sort of like people having you know, produce stuff that they didn't think that they would be producing. So
Yeah.
Creativity. Yes. Mm. Yeah. Is there anything else?
Well, I wondered, just on a slight side thing, a lot of people have, because they've had to shop differently, and a lot of people, we've seen a lot of people making their own meals rather than buying ready-made meals, things like that, people baking. Have there been any food-related changes you've made during this period?
Well, we always sort of like do quite a lot of our own cooking anyway. So what was interesting was right at the beginning of lockdown, there was a post from you guys, and you said, "Oh, we like the Happy Pear Company," and I was looking into it. Like, oh, that looks interesting. So I signed up for that. I can't remember what I can't even remember what I've signed up for now. But I signed up with the Happy Pear Company, and you get sort of like lots of they're vegan, and it's about gut health. So I did sign up for that, and I followed that for a couple of weeks. And what I found was, and it's interesting for me, what I found was as things got more involved with me having to do stuff for the business, and I was more sitting and I was doing more paperwork and I was probably a bit more stressed, I sort of went away from that back to what we normally eat, which isn't particularly unhealthy, but it isn't vegan. So that's on my mind. I know I've got that resource, and that's on my mind to go back and sort of like try that again. But yeah, we generally do sort of like, we've cooked together more, which has been lovely. So music on in the kitchen and sort of like preparing food. And Robin has actually been, so he's my 16-year-old son, and he's been cooking. Some nights Sim and I have been like, we're a bit busy, can you cook tea? So he goes and he cooks tea. So yeah, so it has been sort of like a more of a gelling enjoyable thing to do together, rather than just, oh god, what are we going to eat tonight?
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
That's really good. Let's put a smile on my face.
Super.
Right. Well, I think that's probably enough for this particular conversation. We've got a lot from you, Liz. It's been really nice to talk to you. So,
and you.
Yeah, great. And thank you very much for joining us. And as I say, we'll stay on after the records, just so we can round off with you informally. So thank you very much for being part of this series.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Nice to see you. Bye.
Bye.
No.